Yo, what up everyone? In this video, we're going to be covering the recent changes to Pathfinder from the Chaos Theory Collection event, and I'm also going to be giving you some tips and tricks on how to play Path and how to improve his Path, whether you're trying him out for the first time or you've been playing him casually and you just want to improve with him. The first thing we're going to talk about is his recent removal of low profile, which means Pathfinder used to take 5% more damage for having a smaller hitbox. Now, if I can back up to Season 7 for a second and show you when they increased his hitbox size, you guys can see here that Pathfinder isn't that small of a legend, really. He's more like a walking refrigerator, if I'm being honest. So how does Pathfinder feel since the removal of low profile? Well, I've put in a good amount of hours since the update, and he definitely feels better, but I have to be completely honest here. I still feel like I'm getting deleted at times where I wouldn't with most of the other legends. So in my opinion, his hitbox still may be too big. I hope they consider reverting the hitbox change to him, so he may feel like he did in Season 6, because that's when I really enjoyed him. And if you're not used to Pathfinder and you play a legend that isn't fortified or doesn't have low profile, let's say someone like Bloodhound, then you may feel this difference with Pathfinder. But if you typically play low profile legends, you may not notice this. Path is also a very tall legend. So if you're new to him, it may take some getting used to that factor. If you've been playing some of the smaller legends like Wraith or Lifeline or even Mirage or Octane, you will definitely notice Path is taller, and therefore it will affect your movement when you're in a building. It may be like clunkier to get through a doorway, or you'll definitely notice it when you're in a 1v1 up close and you feel much taller and your gun feels higher up. All right, so let's talk about Pathfinder's Grapple. It's his tactical ability, and to sum it up simply, the Grapple has a variable cooldown. It's contingent on how much distance you travel using the grapple. So the highest possible cooldown is 35 seconds and the shortest cooldown is 10 seconds. In other words, if I hit a very big grapple and cover a ton of distance, then I'm going to have close to a 35 second cooldown max. It's very rare to hit the maximum cooldown. You have to cover a ton of distance. And most of that distance comes from sliding downhill after you've already hit a large grapple. So generally, the cooldown is somewhere between 28 and 30 seconds if you hit a big grapple. As far as how to improve with the grapple, there's a ton of tips and tricks that I can explain and show you. The first thing is when you're grappling and you want to create the most distance and verticality, you want to jump when your grapple connects. So you will notice that when you have your grapple available, there will be a little yellow circle, and then when it turns blue, that means you're in range for your grapple to connect. So I recommend like 9 out of 10 times, depending on the angle you're grappling on, to always press jump and time it right when the grapple connects to whatever surface you're trying to connect to. That will lift you higher and make you go further. Also be sure to be using, whether you're playing on mouse and keyboard, using your view, shifting your view to create angles to perpetuate yourself in a certain direction. As you'll see here, and I'm going to look to a certain way that is going to propel me up and over. Becomes sort of a slingshot mechanic. Now, if you want to try to just get on top of a roof like I'm going to do here real quick, you just place the grapple towards the edge of the roof, jump when the grapple connects, and you don't need to look a certain way if you're coming at it straight on. All right, here's another example of taking high ground similar to grappling on a roof, just trying to go straight on at it, and then assisting teammates from alternate angles of high ground. Path is great for this. Now, if there's no high ground to grapple on, you can grapple on something in front of you, jump when you connect, and try to slide through. Hopefully you don't catch a dead slide like me, and you will create more distance and separation. Now I'm going to show you a clip here where I grapple indoors, and I actually do it just right where I don't hit any of these rafters. It was very sketchy. But I'm able to slide through that. Otherwise, if you are grappling indoors, you will get stuck on something, and it will mess you up pretty badly. I'm going to show you a clip here after this one where you see what happens. Now this happens in this cave, and it was just really unfortunate placement and timing. We get third-partied instantly. We get spammed by some grenades, and so I try to grapple out, but I actually get stuck on top of this cave and in between these rocks, and it just gets me killed. When you're grappling and you jump and you go high in the air and there's a roof or any sort of ceiling, you got to be careful of that because you will get stuck on that and that will stop your momentum. All right, so I'm going to talk about Pathfinder's passive and his ultimate. I'm going to combine them and you guys will understand why here in a moment. So his passive allows you to scan ring beacons and it gives you the next ring location. Crypto and Bloodhound also have this passive now as well, but Pathfinder was the original one to have it. All right, and then Pathfinder's zipline is obviously he shoots a zipline and he can get himself and his teammates to different locations, particularly high ground. Now, there's one tip. When you scan a beacon on Pathfinder, it automatically decreases the cooldown and gives you a zipline back immediately. So you'll see I'm going to use my zipline here. I'm going to go and scan the beacon up here, and it's going to give me my zipline again. So this is a good little tip, and it kind of incentivizes you to scan the beacon if you want, just to get more ring knowledge and to have a second zipline. Now, the other thing about ziplines, particularly on Kings Canyon, you will notice that some of these ziplines around me that are part of the map are actually kind of like loose rope, meaning they kind of sag a little. So what does that mean? Well, it actually makes it harder to track opponents while they ride those ziplines compared to your own. So when Pathfinder uses a zipline, it's pretty much a straightforward rope. It's a pretty tight-knit rope, in other words. And so when you ride that, you go in a straight line, essentially, and it makes it very easy to track, particularly from good players. But if you ride any of the map-made ziplines, it's actually a bit harder to track. So keep that in mind. Now, I have a couple more things to show you regarding ziplines, so please watch if you would like to learn. Now, it doesn't matter if you're on controller or mouse and keyboard, like I said. If you want to interact with the zipline and you jump twice right after you interact, you will fly up in the air like I'm showing you here. And that will throw your opponents off 10 out of 10 times, I guarantee you it. Most people don't know how to do this, and they don't expect it in a fight. You can do this at the beginning of ziplines or the end of ziplines that are part of any map. You can also do them on your own ziplines that you create. Now, as of season 5, I believe they made it so that if you interact with a zipline over 3 times, it will kick you off the zip. Now, I don't like this change, but it is something you guys should know. If you're trying to avoid taking damage while you're riding a zipline, or you're making yourself a harder target to hit, on the 4th interaction with the zipline, you will not be able to connect to the zip. So make sure you time it if you're trying to avoid gunfire on a zipline, that you jump and interact only 3 times. So be sure to space those out accordingly and time them accordingly so that you don't try it a 4th time and it kicks you off the zipline, leaving you in a vulnerable position. All right, guys, I hope you'll slap a like on this video to help show the YouTube algorithm that this video was good and worth watching. That would really help me out. And for now, I'm going to let the rest of the video play out. You guys get to see my best 1v3 clutch to win a game. I believe this was at the end of season 6, and I was just shy of a 4K damage game. It was really unfortunate, but Pathfinder Peacekeeper, you can't really go wrong. And I hope you guys enjoyed this clip. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think about Pathfinder since the update down in the comments. I'll catch you guys on the next upload. Peace.
Resing right here.
Ring's not that far. I love it when that happens. Repair it. Only 10 seconds left.
In progress.
Nice clutch, man.